Right, wow, that was just an incredible episode. The Penguin, episode 4, Saint Annie. I just gets better and better and better and better and better. Every single episode keeps topping one another, and I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if I can handle however many episodes there are left. I think there's another 4 episodes left. It was just absolutely incredible. A whole episode all about Sofia Falcone, and the writing could not have been better. It genuinely couldn't have been better. The fact that we now learn that actually the hangman wasn't the hangman, and that Mark Strong's Carmine Falcone, because Mark Strong played a younger Carmine Falcone in The Penguin, framed his own daughter to save himself. What an absolute scumbag. But the backstory that we learn about Sophia is incredible. It's absolutely incredible. It's so well done, so perfectly executed, and it's just impeccable writing. So we learn, and also, you know, we see a side to the Penguin that we hadn't seen before either. A younger Penguin genuinely was still caring at that point in his life. And so we learn a little bit more about why Sophia and Oz, I guess, now do feel... Well, Sophia essentially does really feel betrayed by the Penguin, or will moving forwards anyway. Well, anyway, so what happens? Well, we get catapulted to the end of episode 3 at the start of this, and Sofia Falcone hops on a phone real quick, calls her therapist, who we then learn in a flashback because she passes out, and then we are flung straight into the past. We learn that this therapist is a former doctor who worked at Arkham Asylum. But we're flung all the way back to a young Sofia Falcone at a sort of a charity fundraiser for a charity that Carmine Falcone and she set up for women going through mental health crisis. Now, there are themes in this episode which, you know, have been co-opted and used to bludgeon everyone with, you know, the message, that sort of thing. But this is not the message. This is great writing, you know. So we learn that Sofia Falcone's mother committed suicide, hung herself, and that's why they've set up this fundraiser, this you know, this sort of charity on behalf of, well, in that name, to help women going through a mental health crisis. Now that's just a perfectly good message. Love it. Great, cool, epic. Anyway, as she's coming out and leaving the charity do, a member of the press comes to speak to her and is like, hey, you could be doing more. There's actually a whole bunch of women that have died in basically the same circumstances as your mother. This obviously gets the mind a ticking of Sofia Falcone, and in an instant, basically, it appears to be an instant, but it's not. It's like 2 days pass or whatever. Anyway, her mind starts ticking. She does ask her father some bits and pieces, but not properly. Not properly. She's like, did mother have any mental... I don't remember her having mental health problems. Did she see a therapist? You know, blah, blah, blah. And Mark Strong's Carmine, you can see his cogs are turning. He's like, yeah, she's on to me. Anyway, Sophia goes to meet the member of the press again to get a little bit more information. She doesn't quite want to believe that her father could be capable of this, so she passes the press off. She's like, no, whatever. You got nothing. Leave me alone. Anyway, flash forward a day or so to Carmine Falcone's birthday, and the Penguin essentially dobbed her in to Carmine Falcone. And Carmine Falcone's like, you're not feeling yourself. You're not okay. Go home. Penguin will drive you home. Oz will drive you home. And the police stop. And it's that same police officer that's in the pocket of the Falcones and has done the bidding of the Falcones. And anyway, she's then flung off to Arkham Asylum. And it is brutal. It is probably one of the most... Like, it's really visceral, this whole sequence of events that pan out and how it's portrayed. The cinematography, the execution, the writing is so very well done. The acting of Miliotti is amazing. Really, really, really great. I don't know whether someone else could have pulled it off as convincingly as she did. She really does sort of like deer in the headlights, trauma, scared, the whole gambit of emotions. She does it, and it's really, really, really great. Anyway, so she's off into Arkham Asylum, and then a series of events play out where, you know, she essentially has her sanity robbed from her, and she doesn't get a trial. She, you know, her whole family frame her as well. They're all in it because Carmine told them to, and they all step in line. And that's the sort of Arkham Asylum part, and it's really brutal, and you really do feel for her. Like, you sort of felt for her anyway in little bits and pieces here and there, but this backstory, you really do feel for her. So then when we flash forward to her waking up at her therapist's office, again, the former Arkham Asylum guy, when she's like, you know what, I will start anew. And we flash forward to another dinner, another banquet, where all of her family are there. And she comes in wearing a dress, which is quite unusual for her because we've not seen her with her scars exposed, right? She's always had high necks and things like this. But she's wearing a dress where it's all exposed. And she looks banging hot as well, mind you. Banging hot. Kristen Milotti's like, yeah, really, really hot. My new crush. Anyway, and she's like, yeah, I want to do a toast. I want to do a toast. I want to say a few words. And she interrupts her whole family. She says a few words about how they all framed her and stuff like this. And she's like, you know what, I will start fresh. Starting tomorrow, I will start anew. I'll get a new life tomorrow. And she buggers off, right? And you're like, okay, something's going on here. Something's going on here. She gets Gia, who is one of her nieces, presumably, I think. Anyway, it's extended family, but it's the little girl that she tried to speak to before and her mum stopped her. She gets her, puts her into the greenhouse, and then we see her sort of dancing, in mourning, we see her dancing through the Falcone mansion with a gas mask on. And she's killed her entire family, aside from Johnny Vidi, which we saw her opening the window to his room earlier in the episode. And she's murdered them all. So she's now going to be the head of the Falcones. And it absolutely feels right and deserved and earned that they all die by her hand. And this is crafting a very, very well written character. Well, this is how you craft a really well written character, is that your villain can do evil things, but it feels earned and justified. That's quite interesting. It's quite interesting. You know, that's good writing to be able to pull that off, right? Because you see them all dead, and you know, with the Watchers, we know that this is brutal and it's evil and it's nasty and she's a murderer. But somehow it feels deserved. Somehow it feels like she's getting justice, right? And that's amazing. It's great writing. And then she wakes Johnny Vidi up and she's like, put your pants on, Johnny. We need to talk. Boom. Boom, done. Episode done. And we're still none the wiser of what's going to happen with the Penguin, with the Maronis, with now the Falcones, because of course she's in charge. We have no idea what's going to go on, and I am just blown away by the writing on this episode. It is just so good. The cinematography that they use in Arkham Asylum, everything's been great about the show. This is a 10 out of 10 show, but this episode was it. Yeah, they just topped it. Brilliant, absolutely amazing show. Really, really good. Genuinely great. The descent to madness that she goes through whilst trying to retain her sanity was just crazy. You really did feel for her, you know? Anyway, love this episode. What did you guys think? Let me know down below. Love to hear your thoughts. Take care. Bye-bye now.